Good evening. I'm back again with some records I want to show. Just as last time, it's a mix of new releases and old classics. Hopefully someone will find something new and interesting or rediscover a forgotten old classic. Let's do this. First up we have War Master from the legendary British death metal band Ball Thrower. This is their third full length and was released in '91 on Earache. Probably everyone is already familiar with Ball Thrower and their discography. However, this was a fairly recent discovery for me personally. When I got into death metal, which was around the late 90s, I devoured everything and tried finding the fastest and most vicious death metal around and dismissed Ball Thrower as generic mid-tempo that was not brutal enough. In later years, I've been rediscovering bands I for some reason disliked when I was younger, and Ball Thrower being one of these bands. War Master is a running time of just about 40 minutes, and it's brimfilled with awesome riffing, pummeling drums, and awesome vocal performance courtesy of Carl Willets. And my favorite tracks are probably the Shreds of Sanity, Final Revolution, and Cenotaph. Since this is the only Ball Thrower record I own and have listened to seriously, I really can't tell you where this stands in quality compared to the other releases, but it seems like if you like one of the records, you probably will like all of them. And my version is a 2017 repress. It's apparently pressed from the original tapes, and the vinyl was cut by Noel Somerville, who did the original pressing. It's full dynamic range, but I don't think my system can get the full benefit of this or my hearing. It's a gatefold with a Warhammer 40,000 inspired layout, which the band used in the beginning of their career. And the inside is just a picture of the band members, and it comes with a printed cardboard inner sleeve. And the front has the same cover as the outer one, but partially colored, and on the back side you have another picture and some credits. And the record is black vinyl, and the center label looks like this. Unfortunately, there are no lyrics included, which is too bad. I bought my copy at a local store, but it's available at Earache and probably on a lot of other places too. It's not a rarity. One short snippet coming up. Next up we have some stuff from the legendary Bay Area thrashers Dark Angel. First we have this one, Darkness Descends. Arguably Dark Angel's finest hours and their most famous record. Originally released in '86 through Combat Records, this was their sophomore release, released after their debut, We Have Arrived. It's a big step up from the debut. Don Doty has found his vocal style, and Gene Hoglan's drumming is on another level compared to original drummer Jack Schwartz. Darkness Descends is packed with awesome riffing courtesy of guitar duo Mayer and Durkin. My favorite tracks are probably the title track, Darkness Descends, The Burning of Sodom, Hunger of the Undead. Hell, every song is killer on this record. The only downside of this is the production. It has the same type of thin guitar sound as Hell Awaits. If this would have had the same production as Raining Blood, this would probably be the best thrash metal release of all time. Anyway, my version of the record is a High Roller Records reissue from 2017. It is a thick, high-quality outer sleeve. The High Roller has repressed it 5 times in different color variances, and my copy is the 5th pressing on the gold vinyl, limited to 250 copies. According to High Roller, these reissues are specially mastered for vinyl, and I really think that especially the guitar sound is a little bit punchier than on the CD version. However, this can be my imagination. The sound quality is very good, regardless. Included is a lyric insert on some type of thick cardboard paper, which is very nice. And on the backside you have credits, thank yous, and some old posters from shows back in the 80s. Also you get a poster with the album artwork. I bought my copy during a record fair in my hometown, but High Roller Records still has copies left if you want to grab a copy, which I highly recommend if you don't own it. And even if you own it on some other format, these represses are excellent short snippet coming up. On with Dark Angel. Next up we have their live EP called Live Scars from 1990. This was recorded on April 22nd, 1989 at the Country Club in Reseda, California. It contains only 5 songs, 3 from the studio album Leave Scars and only 1 from Darkness Ascends and We Have Arrived respectively. And this is an original 90s pressing. Apparently the CD version comes with 3 additional tracks. And this is a very intense live performance. However, Leave Scars, the studio album, has some killer riffs, but the overall songwriting and the vocals from new vocalist Ron Reinhardt and the muddy production makes it far inferior to Darkness Descent, and therefore this EP, as it contains mostly tracks from Leave Scars, is not the best release the band has made. But the funny thing with this live EP is that their guitar sound is better than any of the studio albums. I don't think this is essential, but I thought I would show it since I showed Darkness Descents. Next up we have Cold Steel for an Iron Age from the Aussie Black Thrash trio Destroyer 666, although they were a 4-piece at the time of this record. This was already released in 2002 on Seasonal Mist, and this is their 3rd full-length after the debut Unchained the Wolves and their sophomore release Phoenix Rising. This was actually the first record I heard with Destroyer 666, and I listened to it constantly the year it was released. It's excellent stuff throughout the whole album, awesome riffing, exquisite guitar leads and hooks, excellent drumming, great vocals, and to top it off, the production is as good as it gets. Now, every song is very good, but I think Black City, Black Fire, Sons of Perdition, and Raped are my favorite tracks. And this is by far the best Destroyer 66 album in the discography. Unchained the Wolves has a little bit of a punk feel to it, both musically and production-wise. And Phoenix Rising is a very good record, with Rise of the Predator, I Am the War God, and Lone Wolf Winter's highlights, but there are some filler tracks, and the production is not as good as on Cold Steel. Apparently it took 7 years to release the follow-up to Cold Steel. It was called Defiance, and then an additional 7 years before Wildfire was released last year, I believe. I feel that those two pale in comparison to Cold Steel, and they sound a little tired. And as I said, this was released in 2002, but my copy is a 2016 Season of Mist reissue, which has a bonus track called The Dragon on it. It's a gatefold with new and, in my opinion, improved artwork. And on the inside you have lyrics and liner notes on all tracks from KK Warslut, which is very interesting to read. It was available in 4 different color variances, and mine is the transparent red one, limited to 500 copies. Also, you get a A2 poster, which looks like this. It's a very thick paper, quality stuff. I ordered my copy from Iron Bonehead, but you can pick up a copy on Seasonal Mist if you live in Europe, and on $20 spin if you live in the US. Here are some snippets. Next up we have a band called Gyri. I don't know how you pronounce it, but I'm going with Gyri. If you're not familiar with the band, it's a black metal band from Portugal. They were formed in 2016 and have released 1 EP and 1 full length. They play black metal, wear hoods covering their faces, and have nihilistic lyrical themes, making some people think they are a total Migwa ripoff, which I don't agree with. The music, which is what is important, no doubt has similarities with Migwa, but I would not say it's a ripoff, because Gyri mixed in some post-rock-esque guitar leads and melodies, and maybe some sludge hardcore riffing. I would say they have found their own niche. Anyway, this is their first release, which is a self-titled EP. It was already released in 2016 on CD through Everlasting Spew Records and contains 5 tracks. In 2017, it was released on vinyl and cassette, and the vinyl version has a bonus track called Endless Laps, which brings the running time up to 32 minutes, which is quite generous for an EP. The production is okay. It's far from Necro Basement recordings, but the drums are a little bit loud in the mix, just like on the Antlers record I talked about in the last video. One positive thing that stands out in the production and mixing is that the bass is very audible, which is nice. And all 6 songs are good and quite varied, but my favorites are Final Call, Through Time, with its post-rock-esque crescendo in the end, and bonus track Endless Laps, which is the fastest song on the EP. And this was available on 2 different versions, one black-white splatter, limited to 100 copies, and one black vinyl, limited to 400 copies. And my version is the black one. It comes with a lyric insert. And on the back side, there's a picture of the band members. You can see them wearing their hoods. And it also includes a small poster with the album artwork. I ordered this straight from the band's Bandcamp, and it seems they still have some copies left of the black vinyl on there, so you can pick up a copy. The black and white splatter is sold out. Here are some snippets. Next up we have Unsettling Whispers. This is Gyri's debut full-length, which was released earlier this year on Transcending Obscurity Records. This have received a lot of hype and praise, rightfully so, because it's very good. The difference between this and the EP is not that huge. Maybe the songs are a little bit more layered with more going on, and the production is slightly better. The drums are not quite as loud in the mix as on the EP, but they still take up slightly too much space in my opinion. All the songs are very good on this one also, but my favorite tracks are probably the opener SVN, which is a long with its long build-up, and the track Extension to Nothingness, with its awesome guitar solo in the end. And the record clocks in at around 42 minutes, just 10 minutes longer than their EP. And this is a gatefold. On the inside you have lyrics, but they are handwritten, making it very hard to decipher. And there are some other stuff here, which is not the lyrics. I don't know what this is. And the vinyl is black, kind of ear-looking center label. And this is limited to 200 copies, but you can still order it from Transcending Obscurity. Disclaimer though, Transcending Obscurity is based out of India, but ships worldwide. I did not know this, but my copy got stuck at the Swedish customs for more than a month, and it was worth it. Here are some snippets. Moving on, we have this. It's Servants from a band called Necrokraft. If you're not familiar with Necrokraft, they are from Linköping, Sweden. It was formed in 2012. They released 2 full-lengths, 1 EP, 2 singles, and 1 compilation. And the music is some form of death thrash with hints of maybe mid-era Dimmu Borgir thrown in. And if you have heard of Witchery, also from Sweden, it's in the same vein but with more synthesizers. Witchery and Necrokraft actually share vocalists. And Servants is their 2nd full-length and was released early this year on Design Records. My favorite tracks on this one are probably Gateway to Damnation and the last track, Plague. The production is very good, everything is very balanced, and everything can be heard clearly. And compared to Will-O-Wisp with their debut from 2016, Surpress is a step up both in songwriting and production. The layout and artwork are made by Mattias Frisk from Vanhelgd, which I talked about in my last video. And apparently Facebook kept banning their advertisement of the album because of the cover, but they photoshopped the brassiere onto the creature and that made the trick. It's available in 2 color variances, one black and one brown. My version is the brown one, limited to 300 copies. It comes with a sturdy printed inner sleeve with lyrics on both sides. And I picked up my copy at a local store, but you can order it from frighttrain.se as they ship all around the world. Here are, as always, some snippets. Lastly, we have this record. It's called Interregnum by the band Surpress. If you're not familiar with Surpress, it's a band from Uppsala, Sweden. They were formed in 2010 and have released 4 full-lengths, 3 splits and 1 EP. Their music is quite hard to describe. It feels like it's a mixture of old school death metal, sludge and progressive rock. Maybe you can say it's a mix of earlier Opeth and newer Amorphis with some sludge and old school Swedish death metal to top it off. I have not spent too much time on their earlier stuff, but it seems they upped the ante with the prog stuff on this, their latest. Interregnum was released earlier this year on Agonia Records, and the tracks are all varied in song structure. They mix soft spoken parts or clean vocals with heavy riffing and growling parts. And I think my favorite tracks are In Books Without Pages, The Iron Gates Will Melt, and also the title track Interregnum, which is more straight to the point than the rest. And the record is just 37 minutes. Usually these kind of records tend to drag on for too long, but this is not the case with this one. It's available on 2 different colors, one black and one gold. And my version is the gold, which is limited to 150 hand number copies. Mine is number 27. And you get a printed inner sleeve with lyrics, but this is a little bit damaged. It was actually damaged when I got it, but then I dropped the record into the sleeve, damaging it further. It's paper. It could have been a little higher quality. I ordered my copy from Agonia Records and they still have it in stock, so you can pick both of them up if you like. The future of the band is unknown at the moment because sadly the vocalist Stefan Pettersson passed away this summer after battling cancer for a time. So very sad news. Here are some snippets.
When daylight conquers night, redeem the love we have forsaken. Watch the burden must starve their souls, or else they will lose control.
That was it for today's video. Hopefully someone watching got a recommendation on new stuff to listen to. Next video will be more of the same but different, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Bye.